Hello and welcome to another What's Inside. This time we are looking at a Dungeons & Dragons starter set tie-in with Stranger Things. This is aimed at ages 14 and up, 3 or more players, put out by Wizards of the Coast, which is owned by Hasbro. So this is obviously inspired by Stranger Things because Stranger Things played Dungeons & Dragons in their show. They were playing first edition Advanced Dungeons & Dragons. And this is a 5th edition set, is my understanding. So this is a starter set. Now inside we're going to see a Stranger Things adventure book, rule book, 5 Stranger Things character sheets, 6 dice, Demogorgon figure, and a paintable Demogorgon figure. So the characters apparently are the characters the kids were playing in Stranger Things. And this is supposed to be great for new D&D players. So let's open this up, see what we've got. Now I know this is supposed to simulate the old red box, but it's a really boring look to it. It's got this like washed out look. It would look nicer if it was new looking. Alright, there's a little plastic piece to hold the Demogorgon in, which I was actually a little concerned there won't be. I didn't take that close of a look at it. Wow, that's a lot of wasted space, isn't it? Alright, we got a standard Polyhedral Set, 20-sider, 12, 10, 8, 6, and 4. We got our figures here. And this is just a window through for some reason. But this is actually just taped on there. These are standard dice. So nothing really spectacular about them except they're blue. They're pretty nice. They're kind of pearled. I like that. So here's our Demogorgon figures. Let's take a look at those. This is the painted one. Can't center with the view screen. And the unpainted one is almost virtually identical, just without the mouth and some slight veiny stuff. Minis are okay, they're plastic, vinyl. They do have a copyright for Netflix on the bottom. So I guess that's a thing that you can look forward to. Alright, let's take a look at these booklets. Stuff. Alright, so pictured on the back, it looked real fancy like. But it looks a little less fancy when you see this. Paper quality is actually not bad. It looked a lot cheaper when I first glanced at it, though. It's just got this cheap saddle stitching as opposed to like staples or anything, or binding. Yeah, this is not good. This is not going to hold up. It's just string. Really need to have side stitch staples instead of the little string. That's trash. Well, let's take a look at it. We've got how to play, combat, adventuring, and spellcasting. Magic items, monsters, conditions. So, I don't know why they didn't do this with first edition rules to make it more authentic with the show. They've got pictures from the show in here, which does nothing since you're playing in a fantasy game. It's really milking the Stranger Things element, but it's not showing you the aspects of like them playing the game or anything. It's just random photos. With a fantasy setting, I would have thought they would have wanted some fantasy stuff, like them sitting at the table, slinging dice, or dressed up, something like that. There are a fair number of spells in here, though. I'll give them very good credit for that. So we've got a couple magic items, not a lot. So, then a couple potions, wands. We've got a few monster things here, it looks like. So, bugbear, cultist, demogorgon, doppelganger, evil mage, ghoul, flame skull, giant spider, goblin, hobgoblin, ochre jelly, ogre, orc, owlbear, skeleton, Thessahydra, Sturge, Troglodyte, Twig Blight, Wolf, Young Green Dragon, Zombie. So yeah, fair number of monsters. And the paper's really nice, actually. It looks cheap at first when you first glance at it because it looks like crappy gloss, but it's actually not. But why would they make this good paper with an actually decent assortment of spells and stuff and give it this garbage string binding? That's just cutting corners to cut corners. There's no reason for that. And then we've got the adventure book, Hunt for the Thessahydra, D&D campaign by Mike Wheeler. And look, this is crumpled right here. It's never been out of the box, but somehow it managed to get crumpled. Nice work, Wizards. And that's probably not helping the lazy string binding either. So we've got some, looks like handwritten notes. That's irritating. Yeah, the adventure looks okay. This would probably take a couple hours to bust out. It doesn't really give you anything on creating adventures, so I'm sure you're going to have to buy some other modules or something, because this adventure will last you one sitting. There's not a lot to it. They have it laid out like this to take up more space, so it looks like it's a lot more than it is. Because like this would be less than a page typed on a regular adventure format. So it looks a little lazy on that front too. Let's check out these characters. We've got 3rd level Bard, Hill Dwarf. No name given to him. There's a lot more information on this sheet than there is in that book, it looks like. Then we've got a 3rd level Wood Elf Cleric. He's got an 18 armor class. The other guy only had a 13. It is nice that they give you the spell description stuff, turn undead, all that is all handy on the reference sheet. Yeah, permission is granted to photocopy this for personal use. I would highly recommend doing that instead of writing on these. You'll want to keep these in good shape, just to preserve the integrity of the box set for the collector. The collector's going to want to make sure all of these are here. So we have a 3rd level Human Paladin. And his spells and everything. Then we've got a 3rd level Ranger Half-Orc. And then a 3rd level Wizard Half-Elf. I have a slight problem with the Half-Orc because that doesn't really fit the theme. Half-Orcs I don't think were around in 1st edition. So there's that. But that's all there is to it. There's no map or anything for the minis to be used for. They just randomly threw in some miniatures. There weren't any other miniatures in here. There was nothing to make the miniatures useful. They're just there for the sake of being there. As a cheap ploy gimmick to get you to buy this box set. Which would be fine, but the window here isn't helpful either because this plastic piece will come out. It's just cheaply glued in there. I've seen these kind of things before, and the figures are going to slide around, so you're just going to, everybody's going to throw out these insert pieces in this plastic. So when you have this on there, it's just going to be a window into the box, and you'll see a random die roll around occasionally. So there's not a lot here beyond a one-time use. So I don't know how much enjoyment you're really going to get out of this, other than to introduce somebody to the game, and then try and trick them into buying the core books, because the cheap string on the binding is going to come apart really fast. So this is a real mixed bag. The rulebook is really nice, but there's not enough here to get people to really get invested in the game. There's one adventure that looks really short that they've expanded to look longer than it is. And on top of that, there's 2 miniatures that you have nothing to do with anything. There's no cardboard standees to represent the other characters. There's some pictures from the TV show that have nothing to do with this adventure, because it's a fantasy adventure, but the pictures are all from modern day, well, from the 80s in the show. And the binding on there is garbage, so that's going to come apart really easily. So there's a lot of things I have a problem with. The There's no map in here for the minis to be useful with, so they're just kind of there for a, I don't know, a lure of some kind. The dice are fine. Like I said, the paper quality's good, the binding's trash. So it's a mixed bag. I'd be real careful spending more than about $15 on this as a gift for somebody, because I don't think there's going to be anything more here than one session. It's not really going to bring people into the game, unfortunately. If you're going to do that, get the regular starter set or the essentials kit. Just spend the extra money on that, because those are, I think, $20 to $25. This is going for anywhere between $15 to $30. I don't think it's worth anything over $15. I'd have a hard time justifying that if it wasn't for a gift or something like that even. But for myself, I have no reason to keep this. That adventure is not that compelling or that long. And without some kind of miniature representation, I think newer players are going to have a little bit of a tough time with the whole concept, because it doesn't really have time to expand on what you need to know to roleplay. So I think the regular D&D starter set or the essentials kit would be better purchases than this. Unless you want the Demogorgon minis for something, I don't really see any specific point in this other than you're a completionist or you're a big Stranger Things fan. Or somebody wants to try out D&D based on the fact they saw it on Stranger Things. So, yeah, mixed bag. But if you're a diehard D&D collector, you'll probably want to add this to your box sets. But I have a tough time justifying keeping this on limited space in my bookshelf collection, so I'll probably get rid of this one. So that's going to do it for this episode. You've seen what's in the box. You heard my take on it. That's going to wrap it up. Thank you so much for watching and supporting the channel. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss future unboxings and reviews. If you'd like to help the channel out in other ways, you can share the video on your social media, or you could pick something up nice from the merch store. Or you could support me on Patreon, or do a one-time donation through Streamlabs, which accepts PayPal. All those links are in the description, and as always, we hope to see you on the next one.